Good evening, everyone. Let me begin by thanking very sincerely the class of 2010 for your wonderful idea of launching a scholarship for the program. I just think that's such a wonderful and generous idea. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention there are envelopes at the door on the way back, on the way out tonight for anyone who may want to make a contribution to that. So thank you again very much for that. And also, Jerome, thank you very much for your remarks. Very heartfelt, and we do appreciate that. Congratulations to all of you, regardless of what point you're at in the program. You make us all proud. We know how hard you work. We know what an intensive learning experience it is when you're on campus. And we know that you're already achieving wonderful things, and we look forward to hearing about your future accomplishments and hope that in some small way this program is making a contribution to that. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to Nancy Sullivan. Nancy will be introducing the Honorable Lincoln Alexander, as well as Madame Arbour, and presenting the award. Nancy is absolutely a leader in her own right. She has spent 16 years at the University of Guelph, most recently as Vice President in Finance and Administration. She came to Guelph after about as many other years at other academic institutions across the country, and as well as serving as President of the Canadian Association of University Business Officers. In 2003, Nancy was awarded a Women of Distinction Award, and so we're very proud of Nancy and her accomplishments. I think that perhaps most significantly, I'm not sure, that this may be Nancy's last official act role at the university, as she is retiring in 2 weeks' time. And when Nancy learned that Madame Arbour would be receiving the award tonight, Nancy said that she would be absolutely delighted to present it, as I know she has held Madame Arbour in great regard throughout her career. So without further ado, Nancy, over to you.
Thank you, Julia. And yes, it is really a great honor and privilege to be here this evening, and it may well be my last official act at the institution, but what a thrill it's going to be able to present this award. It really is also an honor and privilege to welcome Madame Louise Arbour back to our campus. As many of you will know, Madame Arbour received an honorary degree from the University of Guelph 2 years ago, so she is very much a part of our university community, and we are very, very proud of that fact. Our president, Alistair Summerlee, has asked me to express his congratulations on the award and also his deep regrets that he can't be here. He's out of the country on university business, but congratulations to you on Alistair's behalf. The Lincoln Alexander Outstanding Leadership Award was established 5 years ago. It is named after the University of Guelph's Chancellor Emeritus, the Honorable Lincoln Alexander, who served this university for an unprecedented 15 years. And I am so thrilled that Lincoln is actually here with us this evening to help me present this award. Lincoln was the recipient of the inaugural award for his exemplary and dedicated leadership within the public service. The award honors a Canadian who has exhibited exemplary leadership within and, most importantly, beyond the boundaries of her or his own organization or profession. The criteria for this award reflect the qualities within the context of the College of Management and Economics community and our own vision, leaders for a sustainable world. They're also entirely consistent with the University of Guelph's commitment to building a better planet and to changing lives and improving life. Madame Arbour, an internationally renowned judge and lawyer, is testimony to the ability of one individual to change lives and improve life both within Canada and internationally. Throughout her career as a lawyer, academic, and judge, Louise Arbour has brought honor to her profession and to Canada as a champion of human rights and international justice. She is best known, perhaps, by most of us for the incomparable courage and determination she demonstrated as chief prosecutor for the International Criminal Tribunals tracking down perpetrators of genocide and crimes against humanity in the former Yugoslavia and Rwanda. But Madame Arbour has had a lifelong commitment to human rights. Many of her court decisions broke new ground, including her ruling that prison inmates had the right to vote. Madame Arbour has written widely on the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Through her work, she has also made a difference to improving the lives of women prisoners in Canada. Evidence of her commitment is her ability to change the conditions for women who had been imprisoned in the Kinston Prison for Women, which has now been demolished. Following her work as chief prosecutor for the International Criminal Tribunals, Madame Arbour did not, as many of us might have, decide to rest. Instead, she decided to focus her attention on justice in Canada, and in 1999, she was appointed to the Supreme Court of Canada. She returned to the international stage again in 2004 when she accepted the position of United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. In that role, she proved to be a strong voice for justice on behalf of the abused, the marginalized, and the powerless. Clearly, Louise Arbour is a leader who does not shy away from accepting the challenges of dealing with conflict. As her nominator, Professor David Prescott, wrote, Louise Arbour is one of the world's most prominent and effective figures in the field of human rights. It is hard to think of anyone, regardless of nationality, with greater dedication and success. And I had the privilege of speaking with Madame Arbour earlier this evening, and I do know actually what makes her proudest is being able to help individuals who are faced in situations of conflict, that those are very tough decisions, and I thank her for that dedication to individual people and taking care of making sure the weakest in our communities, in fact, have their rights defended. I would like now to invite the Honorable Lincoln Alexander to join me so that we can indeed present this award on behalf of the College of Management, the Lincoln Alexander Leadership Award to Madame Louise Arbour.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished honoree, it's been fun sitting beside Louise. We're on a first name basis now. I've never met such a charming, wonderful person. She has a place for men. She hasn't found where it is yet, but nevertheless, she's conquered bounds. And I just want to say how pleased I am to be in a position to be with you right now. May you continue to conquer mountains, and may your every wish become a reality, and may God continue to watch over and bless you. It's my distinct pleasure now to give you the Lincoln Alexander Award.
Speak of climbing mountains. I hope you appreciate this is my natural height. I know they have to adjust the equipment accordingly. This is really tall. I'm scared. What if I fall down? Yeah, are we good? Seems very far away. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, Years ago, I had a cartoon on my fridge which said, "Behind every great man there's a woman, and behind every great woman there's a cat." Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to suggest for a minute that I'm great. Actually, I don't even have a cat anymore. But I have behind me a couple of young women in my office who make sure to tell everyone that I cannot prepare a 30-minute keynote address, and I'm sure this will come as a very big relief to you. In fact, when I move to another world, my great dream is that on my tombstone, it's going to read, "She was too short." And I think when you do a lot of after-dinner speaking, it's actually a nicely ambitious project. As you know, I now work internationally, and therefore, when I come and speak to a place like here, I have to adjust to the quirks of Canadian culture. So in addressing you tonight, particularly as I come from the legal profession, I think there's a trait in the legal profession, a lot less so in politics, where it's agreed that the hallmarks of a great speech are to have little sprinkles of self-deprecation. This is supposed to be, in my view, a very clever device to hide the genuine self-admiration that most lawyers display. And in fact, I told the students this afternoon, and they'll forgive me if I repeat that, just this weekend, I heard this very clever remark. Someone said that Golda Meir was having a conversation with Moshe Dayan, and she said to him, "Listen, Moshe, don't be so humble, you're not so great." So I'm not a lawyer anymore, so of course I could never be accused of self-admiration. And therefore, the reason that will come, for reasons that will readily become apparent to you, it's with genuine, really genuine modesty that I accept this award. And I will say a few words to you about leadership. But it's, again, for the students that I met this afternoon, they will be able to vouch for the fact that I don't have a lot of insight into leadership, in large part because I have been raised in a tradition where even incremental access to leadership was not viewed with great support. My education in an all-girl Catholic boarding school reflected, I think, a very strong culture of what our friends, the Australians, call the tall poppy syndrome. The celebration of modesty and humility discouraged aspirations to stand tall above the crowd. For other pretty obvious reasons, standing tall above anyone was not really part of my game plan. So throughout my career, it's also true that I very rarely worked in a hierarchy. And by the time I did, very briefly in the United Nations system, I was immediately at the top, which tends to give you a rather unreliable set of evidence about your own leadership qualities. But on reflection, if I've not been exposed to formal leadership, the kind of leadership that comes from institutional progress through the ranks, I have gained, I think, some insight into the aspects of leadership that in the end probably matter the most. That is the earned respect that elevates some people, very few, but some people, into a position to really shape the future.